Today I'm going to go over the Unit 2 test. Number 1 says the table below shows the time it takes a prototype car to travel the different distances. What is the constant rate of change in this situation in miles per hour? We know constant rate of change is using the formula K equals Y over X. So in this table, X is our time, Y is our distance. So we need to do that for each of the intervals. So for the first one, we have 110 over 2. And when we divide 110 divided by 2, 2 goes into 1 0 times, into 11 5 times, that's 10. 1 left over, bring down the 0, 2 goes into 10 5 times, we get 55. So far, that's what our answer is. Now we need to continue with the next one. So we have 275 over 5. When we divide that, 5 goes into 2 0 times, into 27 5 times, that's 25. We get 2 left over, bring down our 5. 5 goes into 25 5 times. So far, we still got 55. We need to continue on, though, to make sure it is a constant rate. So we got 550 over 10. 10 on the outside, 550 on the inside. 10 goes into 55, or into 5 0 times, into 55 5 times. And that's 50. We get 5 left over, bring down our 0. 10 goes into 55 times, so we're still at 55. And the last one, 825 over 15. So we have 15 on the outside, 825 on the inside. So 15 goes into 8, 0 times. 15 goes into 82, 5. That's 75. We subtract, we get 7. Bring down our 5. 15 goes into 75, 5 times. That is 75. So we get 55 for each of the intervals, meaning our constant rate of change is 55 miles per hour. Please make sure to show all of your work on your test corrections today. Number 2 says Tim's mom filled the gas tank in her SUV and spent $72 for 22 gallons of unleaded gasoline. What's the constant of proportionality, that also just means constant rate of change, that relates the cost in dollars, Y, to the number of gallons of unleaded gas, X? So it's the same thing as our last question. K equals Y over X. That's our constant rate of change, constant proportionality. So it tells us that Y is our dollar amount and that the gas is our X amount. So we need to plug into our formula. The dollar amount is 72 in our problem, and the amount of gas is 22. So now we just need to divide. Top in, 72, it's going inside, and bottom out, so 22 on the outside. 22 goes into 72 3 times. That would be 66. We subtract. We have to borrow. 12 minus 6 is 6. We have to add a 0 and a decimal. Bring our 0 straight down. 22 goes into 60 twice, and that's 44. We subtract, need to borrow. 10 minus 4 is 6. 5 minus 4 is 1. We have to add another 0, bring it down. 22 should go into 160, I believe, 7 times. Let's multiply it out to make sure. Get 14, 14, 15. Yep, 7 times. We get 154. 6 left over. Now, with money, we can only go out 2 decimal places. We can see in our answer choices up here, there's no other answer that is even close. So 327 is the answer. Again, please show all of your work on your test corrections. Number 3 says Ken was pricing ingredients for a recipe he was planning to make for a dinner party. The store sold 4 different brands of the same type of product. Which statement about the unit cost of the different brands is true? So what we have to do here is we have to find the unit rate. When we find the unit rate, we have to divide. So we're going to divide 4 different times to compare the different costs. So the first one is 288 divided by 8. 8 goes into 2 0 times. Bring our decimal straight up. 8 goes into 28 3 times. That's 24. We subtract to get 4 left over. Bring down the 8. 8 goes into 48 6 times. And that is 48. So we get 36 cents for brand A. Let's move on to the next one. We have 4.5 and 144. So when we do this one, 4.5 divided by 144, okay, we have to move this decimal over because we can't have a decimal on the outside of a division. Now, since we moved the outside, we also have to move the decimal on the inside. So our new problem is 45 divided by 14.4. 45 goes into 1 0 times, into 14 0 times. Bring our decimal straight up. 45 goes into 144 3 times. And that is 135. We subtract, but we have to borrow. 14 minus 5 is 9. So now we have to add our 0, bring it down. 45 goes into 90 twice. And it is 90. So we get 0.32 for brand B. Let's continue on with the next one. So we have 5 on the outside, $1.80 on the inside. I'll rewrite that so it's a little neater. Alright, so 5 goes into 1 0 times. 5 goes into 18 3 times. That's 15. Get 3 left over, bring down our 0. 5 goes into 30 6 times. So we get 0.36 for brand C. Now brand D. 4 and $1.20. 4 goes into 1 0 times. Bring our decimal up. 4 goes into 12 3 times, and that is 12. Bring down our 0. 4 goes into 0 0 times, so we get 0.30 for brand D. Now let's compare the answer choices. Brand C has a lower unit cost than brand B, so we're comparing C and B. Does C have a lower cost than B? No, so we're going to cross out answer choice A. Now this one says brand D has a higher cost than brand A. Is 30 bigger than 36? No, so we cross it out. Next one, brand A, which is 0.36, and brand C, which is 0.36, have the same unit cost. Since 0.36 is the same in both, we are going to choose C as our answer. Number 4 says, John lost 1.44 kilograms after a week of exercise. If 1 kilogram is approximately 2.2 pounds, about how many pounds did John lose? So here we need to set up a proportion because we have kilograms and a kilogram. We have a pound, and we're looking for the other pound. Okay, so the 1.4 goes with kilograms, 1 goes with kilograms, the 2.2 goes with pounds. Since it says how many pounds, we are looking for that. That is our X. So we're going to create a proportion. Since we're looking for pounds, we're going to put that on top. And we know both kilograms, so that's going to be on bottom. Since we're looking for pounds, the X goes up top with it. We know the other pounds is 2.2. Now, in the question, we know 2.2 is related directly to 1 kilogram. So the 1 kilogram is going to go right below the 2.2. The 1.4 is going to be in the only other open spot. 1.44. So now we need to cross multiply. So we're going to multiply 1.44 times 2.2. So I want to make a note. There's 3 decimal places that we need to remember at the end. So let's continue with multiplying just like normal. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 1 is 2. Cross out the 2, put an x for place value. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 1 is 2. Now we need to add. We get 8, 16, carry the 1. 10, 11, carry the 1. 2 and 1 is 3. Now, remember, I said it's very important that we remember there's 3 decimal places up here. So I need to move my decimal 1, 2, 3 places. So I get 3.168. Now, my next step is to divide. Luckily, in this question, we divide down by 1. Anything divided by 1 is just itself. So we get to skip that step in this problem. Now, we don't have an answer choice that says 3.168. There's one that's really close, and the reason it's close is they rounded. So we look at this third number. Since it is 5 or more, we're going to up this score. So we end up getting 3.17. H. Again, please show all of your work in your test corrections. Number 5. At an opening of a new art gallery, the owner hired a caterer to serve light snacks. The owner will have to pay $637.50 for the food. The owner decided to give 15% tip. How much extra would the catering service earn from the tip? So when we're given a percent, we remember that we have to move the decimal 2 times to the left. So if we have 15%, to get it as a decimal, we just have to move it 2 places to the left. So now it's 0.15. So we're going to take 637.50 cents, and we're going to multiply it by 0.15. Remember, there's 4 decimal places, so that's going to come into handy here in a second. So we're going to start just like normal. 5 times 0 is 5. 5 times 5 is 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 5 is 25. Carry the 2. 5 times 7 is 35. Plus 2 is 37. Carry the 3. 5 times 3 is 15. Plus 3 is 18. Carry the 1. 5 times 6 is 30. Plus 1 is 31. We're going to cross out everything we're done with. We have an x for place value. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 7 is 7. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 6 is 6. Now we need to add up. We get 0, 5. 7 plus 5 is 12. Carry the 1. 8 plus 7 plus 1 is 16. Carry the 1. 3 plus 1 plus 1 is 5. And 3 plus 6 is 9. Now, again at the top, we said there's 4 decimal places. So we have to move the decimal 4 spots. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So we end up getting 95.6250. Now, it says how much extra would the catering service earn? So since it's just looking for the extra, just the tip, we can stop there. If it had asked for how much total, then we would have had to add it back. But since it's asking for just the extra, we get to stop. So our answer is B, 95.62. Number 7 says an architect is making a scale model of a house. On the model, 2.5 inches represents 5 yards. Which graph represents the same relationship? So what we need to do is we need to find where the inches are on our model, which is down here at the bottom for every answer choice. Inches are at the bottom. Now it says 2.5 inches. Okay, so we have to find 2.5. It's nowhere shown, but we know to 2 of these hash marks is 5. Half of 5 is 2.5. So 2.5 for every single one of these graphs is going to be that first hash mark. So we want that first hash mark to represent 5 yards on the left-hand side, the y-axis. So we're going to draw a line from 2.5 up to 5. Let's use a smaller pen. So from 2.5 to 5. If our line does not meet up perfectly, if that black line does not meet up perfectly in that corner, it is not our answer. So now that I've drawn that line, Let's go look. Right here, that black line does not cross in this area. If it does not cross, F is not our answer. Right here, it crosses perfectly, so that's probably going to be our answer, but let's keep checking. Here in this corner, it does not cross, so G is not our answer. Here in this corner, it does not cross, so J is not our answer. So we end up getting H as our answer. Number 8 says, Munson Sporting Goods purchases bowling balls from the manufacturer for a wholesale price of $50 each. There's a 60% markup when they sell the bowling balls to their customers. What would be the retail price of the bowling ball? So here we're given a percent. So when we're given that percent, let's make it a decimal. So 60%, move it 2 decimal places to make it a decimal. 1, 2. So we end up getting 0.60. To make it easier to work with, 0.6 is also acceptable. So now it says they did a wholesale price of 50 each, and they're marking it up 60%. So we need to multiply 50 times by 0.6. There's only 1 decimal place, so that will come into factor here at the end. 6 times 0 is 0. 6 times 5 is 30. Again, 1 decimal place, so we put 1 decimal. Now, it's asking for the new retail price. If it was just asking for how much markup, $30 would be our answer. But since it's asking for the new retail price, we now have to add. So we take our original price, we add $30, our markup, to get $80 as our answer, J. Please show all of your work and your test corrections. Number 9 says Amanda increased the amount of protein she eats every day from 48 to 54 grams. By what percentage did Amanda increase the amount of protein she eats? So in this problem, we are going to make a proportion. Remember, in the proportion, we have the amount of change over the original, and we have X over 100%. So the change, we have to do big minus smaller. So step 1 is big minus small. So in this step, we get 54 minus 48. When we do this, we end up getting, we have to borrow. This is 14, this is 4. 14 minus 8 is 6. So the amount of change goes on top. Now, the original goes on bottom. The original is what it started out to be. So in our problem, it says from 48. So that means it started at 48. So that is going to be our bottom number. And then 100 is always on bottom and our X up top. So step 2 is going to be cross multiply. So 100 times 6, that's going to be 600. And step 3 is going to be divide. Divide down. Okay, so we're dividing down. Top in, bottom out, so that's 600 divided by 48. 48 goes into 6 0 times, into 60 once. I need to borrow. This is 10, this is 5. 10 minus 8 is 2, 5 minus 4 is 1. Now we need to bring the 0 down. So 48 goes into 120, that's twice. That's 96. We'll subtract, so we need to borrow. So we get 10 minus 6 is 4, 11 minus 9 is 2. Now we have to do a decimal because we have to keep going because they're really close. 11 and 13 is really, really close. So we have to continue going on with the problem to see if we need to round up or round down. So we add a 0, bring it down. So 48 goes into 240 5 times. That's 240, so we can stop. So we end up getting 12.5. So since we have to round, we look at this number. That is 5 or more, so we're going to up that score. So our answer should be 13%. J. Again, that was a lot of work, so please show all your work on your test corrections. Number 10 says, what is the constant of proportionality for the graph below? So remember, we said constant of proportionality equals K is Y over X. So we need to look at all of these answers. For this first one, we have 1, and it matches up about halfway up. So halfway between 0 and 10 is 5. So for the first one, we get 5 over 1, because remember, it's Y over X. So the next one, we end up getting 10 over 2. And the next one, right here, about halfway between 10 and 20, which is 15 and 3. The next one, 20 and 4. And the last one, halfway between 20 and 30, 25 and 5. So 5 divided by 1 is 5. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 15 divided by 3, 5. 20 divided by 4 is 5. And 25 divided by 5 is 5. So we get a common answer here. Common answer of 5, H. Again, please show your work on your test corrections.